Hi, in this session we're going to talk about buying a franchise. In one of the previous videos we discussed purchasing a business, but purchasing a franchise is certainly got unique issues you need to be certainly aware of. In purchasing a franchise, there's various kinds of franchises to take into consideration, but most importantly, is the franchise suited to you? A lot of people buy into a franchise thinking they're basically buying themselves a job, think they can just work 9 to 5. Well, unfortunately, in most cases in businesses it just doesn't work that way. So really making sure and understanding what your requirements are going to be, what impact it's going to have on your lifestyle, that's relevant to going into business full stop. But there has been some bad media about franchising in the past. Personally, I believe it's more the people who have purchased the franchises are always a little bit, may have gone into it not quite as well informed as they should have, but that's very much just a general comment, because there's a lot of very, very successful people in franchises. And generally I believe franchises are a good alternative than starting a business yourself. Some of the benefits of going into a franchise can include that you've got the support of the franchise body. You've got, generally there's training provided to make sure that your business acumen is up to scratch, and also you've got the ability to be able to service that franchise as they require. And that's certainly in their best interest, is to make sure that you're delivering the level of service that they want to have known for that particular franchise. The others, advertising. Generally you may be paying for it one way or another, but at least they are doing the advertising, and generally you're getting, in a lot of franchises, radio, TV coverage, where a lot of smaller businesses wouldn't actually go down that path. So certainly that's a benefit. The corporate image or the branding that comes along with it as well is certainly helps within your marketing overall. And with the type of franchises, which would include a home services, more a mobile type of franchise, you would certainly having call centres acting on your behalf and actually forwarding the clients on to you is certainly an advantage than if you're going into a business purely on your own without that franchise backup. Restrictions to a franchise though, there's always the good and the bad, but not necessarily the bad, but just things you need to be wary of. Is that generally you've got, let's say in a fast food type of franchise, which is generally in a fixed location, that very much the pricing is usually structured for you, that which may not be taking in consideration of the variation, the leasing costs of the place that you may need to be setting yourself up in. The products, you're restricted to generally only having the products that they have for sale, because it's in line with their promotions. And also the supplies that are generally also restricted, that you must go through them for your supplies. So they can at times be restrictive, makes it a bit harder to really have control over how you're going to make your money compared to another franchise doing exactly the same thing, which is in another area. There can be a lot of variations there. With a home services type of franchise, where generally you're purchasing an area, means you're restricted within that area. You really need to know whether there is the sustainability of the amount of clients for that area. You can't advertise out. Generally you can pick up some work if people are asking you to go outside your area, but you can't advertise and promote yourself in that outside of what the region you've brought into. But so that can once again be a restriction, especially if you're wanting to grow the business on further. It means your only alternative is to basically purchase another region within that franchise. Also pricing is dictated generally in that type of franchise, and also restricted in as the other one with products, you may be restricted in the services. So if you're doing possibly, if the franchise you're in has lawn mowing and you're doing that, and they also have a gutter cleaning franchise that they have, well then they're not going to look kindly on you actually going and doing gutter cleaning as an extra for your client. So you've got to be aware of for sure what your restrictions are going to be. With that, there's certainly, with a franchise, there's a lot of documentation that comes with a franchise, and to try and get your head around it, you really do need to make sure you're getting some good advice and support. We're certainly there to be able to help you in the first instance. We would always get you to have it checked out with your accountant, possibly a lawyer. You have got the likes of the Franchise Council of Australia who are also available to be able to see what particular franchises may be doing. Some are actually some that haven't been set up quite as well as others may be being investigated. Well, you need to be aware of that there aren't any restrictions on those or encumbrances on those that you're looking at purchasing into. Another thing to take into consideration is if you get to a stage you find that maybe it's not for you, you want to get out of it, what the exit clauses are with actually you trying to close down or generally really selling your the franchise, that you may not have full control over that. Certainly make sure that you understand what restrictions may be there, that the franchise body may be requiring you for them to have the last say on who's going to be purchasing that franchise. So just be aware of that as well. As another thing to be, the fee structures of the franchises too can be vary from one to another. Some of them have ongoing fees that you have to be very much aware of, and if you're not aware of how much you're going to have as an ongoing scenario to be paying out, it certainly restricts your cash flow situation. And finally, if I may mention, the franchises, some of them have a term that you're purchasing the franchise for. So your franchise may have a use-by date, and to continue on further, you've got to actually repurchase that franchise. So you need to make sure that you're going to be able to make your money in that period that you've actually got the control of that franchise for. So make sure you're looking at that documentation, get that support and assistance. What we like to do when we're having a look at them, we're not accountants here or lawyers. What we like to do is to make sure you're aware of what the documentation is saying, and so you know what questions to ask an accountant or a lawyer. And also people come back for us to sometimes give a feedback on making sure they understand what an accountant or a lawyer has suggested to them. So you've got a clear understanding. We can usually fill in those gaps pretty well. We're dealing with these all the time. So ideally, the decision is yours. Franchises are a good way to go. You could just start up your own business off the scratch. You could purchase a business. There's a lot of different alternatives, but make sure you do your homework. Hope to see you soon.